Okay, so everybody is probably well aware of that. We're just continuing or reopening the meeting that was originally began June 24th. We left off with Miss Barber was on the witness stand. So council, I believe that's where we should pick up. And so Miss Barber, if you'd like to go up to the witness stand and I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be true?
Yes.
Counsel, I guess you can, Ms. Hanson, you can begin direct examination. Cross, I'm sorry, yes. Gotcha.
Mayor and members of the city council. Ms. Barber, my name is Susan Hanson. As part of this process, I'd like to ask you some questions. If you don't understand, please state that you don't understand and I can clarify, okay? And just for the purposes of the record, I would just remind you that you need to answer verbally versus shaking your head. I know that's hard to remember, but if you could just try. Thank you, thank you. I'm guilty of it too, so I understand that. So as I look at the investigation, and you have a notebook of exhibits in front of you, we'll probably be referring to that crowd, okay? So maybe just have that handy, okay?
Yes.
Good job. So as I look at this investigation and the documents in this investigation, it appears that, and specifically I'm looking at Exhibit 10, if you want to refer your attention to Exhibit 10 in the investigation report, but there are approximately 280 different movies and books that you had shipped to your home that were purchased using the city's credit card, right?
Correct.
And the time period during which you ordered those items using the city's credit card and had those items shipped to your home date back to December 18, 2019, right?
Correct.
And they continued through December 13, 2024, right?
Correct.
So we're talking about a 5-year period of time, correct?
Yes.
And in that 5-year period of time, this involved approximately $5,000 worth of items, again, that were purchased on the city's credit card and shipped to your residence, correct?
Correct.
And we see that total almost $5,000. It was specifically $4,997.72 on page 7 of 15 on Exhibit 10, right?
Correct.
The numbers are kind of small, it's hard for me to see too, but they're at the bottom, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you received a directive from the city on October 2nd of 2023 to stop shipping items to your home, correct?
Yes.
And that's outlined in Exhibit 8, correct? Where you were directed, you should definitely have all items shipped to the library that are purchased with the library card, the credit card, correct?
Yes.
And despite that directive, you continued to have items shipped to your home, correct?
Yes.
And you continue to have items shipped to your home after October 2, 2024 on May 27th, it was October 2, 2023 when you got this directive, right?
Yes.
And you continue to do this on May 27, 2024, correct?
Yes.
May 29, 2024, you continue to have an item shipped to your home, right?
Yes.
June 22, 2024, you continue to have that item shipped to your home, right?
I can't see it necessarily, but
It was James and Novel, the Percival Everett
oh,
book.
yes.
Okay, and then next, September 19, 2024, where they last saw her, you had that shipped to your home, right?
Yes.
October 31, 2024, Robot Dreams, a DVD, you had that shipped to your home, right?
Yes, yes,
October 31, 2024, the title was This Is Not a Book, you had that shipped to your home, correct?
yes,
October 31, 2024, before and after, you had that shipped to your home, right?
yes,
And December 13, 2024, looking into the weather, you had that shipped to your home, or
Yeah.
shipped to your home, correct?
yes,
So 8 separate occasions, you violated the directive that was issued to you on October 2, 2023, to discontinue shipping items to your home, correct?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
Did you comply with the directive after October 2, 2023?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled. Like to hear that.
so yes.
You comply with the directive?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Do you want me to state it again?
I think you're, sure, go ahead.
Did you
State it
comply
again.
with did you comply with the directive after October 2, 2023?
No, I ordered 8 items after that.
So I understand, ma'am, that as part of your testimony to this council, as well as your interview with the investigator, that you shipped items to your home so that you could preview items, right?
Preview, review, yep.
You wanted to ensure that they were a quote, good fit for the library?
That is part of it. The other part is knowing the content further so I can recommend items to our patrons.
You also testified that you utilized Amazon and had items shipped when you, quote, needed something fast, right?
Sometimes, yes.
And sometimes you also testified that you did this process whereby you ordered items off of Amazon and had them shipped to your home for a book that was, quote, super hot, right?
Sometimes, yes.
Or, quote, popular, right?
Sometimes,
And so,
yes.
for example, let's just talk about James, a novel.
Right.
That's would you consider that a, quote, super hot or popular book?
I would.
And so my understanding, ma'am, of your testimony was you utilized Amazon and had these shipped to your home because that was a super hot, popular novel that you wanted the patrons to be able to access. Is that right?
Yes, in that case, it was a book that I wanted to possibly do as a book club, which I did.
And so as you previewed these items, or as you had these items ordered through Amazon, shipped to your home because they were popular or hot or wanted to get them to the patrons, these books, though, were not cataloged.
Some of, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, that's fine. These books were not cataloged promptly after their receipt, were they?
So many of them were, and some of them were not.
Okay, which were not?
It's a long list over the course of many years, and I believe, the original number of maybe 67 out of those hundreds were not cataloged, except for the ones that were cataloged that were not found by the investigator in our catalog.
Okay, so 67 of the 280 were not cataloged. I'm understanding you should be saying that.
No, because some of them were cataloged, and I pointed those titles out, I believe, at the Louder Mill.
So the items that were cataloged, are those the items that you're claiming you were able to locate in the catalog that the investigator was not able to locate in the catalog?
Correct.
Okay, so those items that you were able to locate in the catalog, that the investigator was not able to locate in the catalog, how many books were you able to locate that she was not?
I think it should be somewhere in here, but I think it was 5 or 6. Some between 5 and 10. I don't know for sure.
Where would I find that when you say it should be in here somewhere? Tell me where I should look for that.
Well, I I didn't put this packet together, but I did report that those books were found in the catalog. And this was when I was on leave, and I was able to access the catalog just like any patron would.
And did you report that to the investigator in your interview, or did you report that in your louder tone?
I did not report it in my interview because I wasn't aware of any of the titles.
Okay,
I reported it to my attorney, who reported it, I believe, during the Loudermill.
but during your interview, ma'am, as I reviewed your interview transcript, she reviewed a number of titles with you, correct?
She reviewed a couple.
What's your definition of a couple?
Less than 5.
So of the items that she was not able to locate in the catalog, and I believe there were 67 total that were not in the catalog, is that correct?
She was unable to find 67 in the catalog.
So of those 67, you found 5 to 10, correct?
Correct.
And as far as which 5 to 10 those are, do you know that?
I do not have that list in
Is there
front
a
of me
list?
right now.
Is there such a list?
There should be a list,
Where is
yes.
that list?
That would be something that my attorney has and has shared with our city attorney at the Loudermill.
So if I look at the Loudermill notes, I'll read that list.
Yes,
Okay, great, great. And my understanding, ma'am, is you were able to locate 5 to 10 books in the catalog that the investigator was not because certain words were misspelled, is that correct?
that is what I sussed out. You know, I don't know, but I know from experience working with people, when they're looking, when people are looking for items in the catalog, sometimes they need help because it's not like a Google search. You need to have exact wording in order to find what you want.
Okay. And when you had the interview with the investigator on or about March 7th of 2025, you were given a Tennyson advisory, an advisory that told you you were obligated to tell the truth, right?
Yes,
And you did in fact tell the truth, right?
Yes.
And in this setting, in the hearing testimony setting, you also told the truth to the council, correct?
yes,
When you interviewed, or when you sat for your interview with the investigator on March 7th, 2025, the investigator asked you if she were to go to your house, would she find any of the 67 books that were not cataloged? Do you remember that question?
I do.
And you answered, no, you will not find any of these items at my residence, correct?
No. That's not what I answered.
Why do you say that?
Well, I reviewed the audio, and my answer was a little more complex than that. I answered that there was nothing at my house that I was saving for myself, and that I didn't need to keep library items for myself, other than to review or preview, and they would make their way back to the library.
So if I turn to Exhibit F in that notebook, that's the transcript of your interview, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And if I go to page 55 of 61, and their number in the bottom right corner, do you see that there now?
I do.
So near the top of, again, page 55 of 61, the investigator states, okay, and I'm not saying I have to do this, but if I marched over to your house after this interview, would I find any of these books? Do you see that, ma'am?
I do.
And you answered, no, no. I really have anything that I need to read or want to look at, I can get from the library. I mean, there were many years before I was a library director that I collected books, but that's stopped because it's too much to move.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Yes.
So your answer to the question of, if I marched over to your house after this interview, would I find any books? Your answer was no, correct?
I would go back to Callie's statement, would she find any of these books? Well, she had a pile of paper. I didn't know what books were on her pile of paper. What I was saying was, I was not keeping books from the library. That's how I interpreted the question at the time.
So when she said, and I'm trying to truly understand this, ma'am.
Sure.
So when she asked you, would I find any of these books, you didn't tell her, I don't know what books you're referring to, did you? You didn't say that.
No, I did not say that.
You didn't tell her that you were temporarily maintaining books at your home that would ultimately find their way back to the library. You didn't say that, did you?
No, I don't think I said that, at least not in this portion of the interview.
You said no.
Mhm. Correct.
Um, And subsequently, ma'am, it's my understanding, you found 18 of the 67 books that were not cataloged at your residence, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Which 18 did you find at your residence?
I don't have that list with me, but it was given to my lawyer and presented at the Louder Mill.
Where were they at your home?
They were actually, they were sitting, I have a special place to keep library items, so it's sort of in the entryway of my house,
What do you mean it's a special place?
so they don't get mixed up with anything else,
Okay.
like a basket.
Okay, like a special dedicated, these are library items?
Right.
Okay, okay. But you didn't tell the investigator that, right? You
Um,
didn't tell the, let me just finish now. You
Sure.
didn't tell the, I just don't want us to talk over one another, then if they're just not gonna be able to pick that up, sorry. But you didn't tell the investigator, I do have a basket of special library items in my entryway, we could look there. You didn't tell her that, right?
No, I was trying to answer the questions as best I could in that time, in that moment, and there were a lot of questions.
Mhm.
So, no, I did not disclose that.
Okay. So you found these 18 books in that basket?
No, I think that there were some in there, and there were some in other places.
What other places?
Every place that I read or look at a film. So, my living room, my media room, because I'm looking at the items, not just having them sit in one place. But yeah, they were around.
Throughout your house?
I mean, they were in a couple different places in my house, yes.
And these 18 items that were purchased using the city credit card dating back to 2019, they had been at your house for months, right?
Some had, I'm sure, yeah.
Some had been at your house for years, right?
No, I don't think what was at my house had been there for years, but I have not checked the dates for those 18 items. If I have, I don't know off the top of my head which ones. But I assume they were fairly new, but some of them were probably a little older.
So is it accurate to say you don't know how long they had been at your home?
Not right now, no.
Certainly during that period of months that they were at your home, they weren't available to the patrons of the library to access them, correct?
Correct.
They were only available to you and your family, right?
They were only available to me. My family isn't doing the job that I'm doing, so, yeah. they're available to me.
But these items were throughout your house, right? That was your testimony.
Sure, yes,
So they were available to your family if your family has access to your residence,
yes.
correct?
My family is available to everything that's in the house, pots and pans and clothing. So it would be available, but not of interest to my family.
Books purchased with the city credit card, they would have access to that, right?
Yes,
Movies rented with the city credit card, they would have access to that, correct?
like streaming movies?
The movies that you purchased using the city
Sure.
credit card, they would have access to that, correct?
Yes,
The Prime videos that you rented using the city credit card, they would have access to that, correct?
no, I didn't include them in when I was watching something for the library. I wasn't including my family. Again, it's my job as library director, not my 13-year-old's job.
But if your 13-year-old wanted to log in and watch that movie that you had streamed, they could have done so, correct?
No, they could not have.
Why not?
They don't have they don't have access to the same kind of codes that I do, like passwords.
And the password that you have associated with your Prime Video, is that your personal password?
There were two. There was one that was associated with the library and one that was associated with our family, our personal password.
And
Yeah.
the password that was on these movies that you purchased using the city funds, what password was on those?
That would be the password for the library because it was for library business.
Are you sure about that, ma'am?
Yes?
The items that you had at your residence for months, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The items that were also shipped to your home, in addition to movies and books, were puzzles, right?
Yes.
And the purpose of having a puzzle shipped to your home, you talk about previewing items, you
Mhm.
talk about super hot items,
Mhm.
popular items
Mhm.
that you want to get to the patrons fast.
Mm-hmm.
You're certainly not previewing a puzzle.
No,
right?
no.
You're certainly not getting a super hot puzzle to the patrons.
Right,
Correct? Yet puzzles were at your home for months, correct?
No, they weren't at my home for months. No, when a puzzle would arrive, it was usually for a event that we were having at the library, and the puzzle would go to the library when it arrived at my home.
So none of the puzzles were found at your home.
No,
So again, this concept of previewing these items to make sure that they were a good fit. So the 280 items that you had sent to your home, which items were returned because they weren't a good fit?
oh, well, what I wanna make sure to say is, it's not that they were necessarily being previewed as a good fit overall for the library, but a good fit for a patron, like who is going to want this item. I don't know, what everybody wants to read, but I try to make sure that I know as much as I can about what patrons' needs are and individuals that might want a certain thing so that I can recommend it, so I can fit it into certain book displays that I do at the library, which is something that I do all the time. And a lot of, can I continue or?
Yeah, you
Okay.
absolutely.
Just wanted to say that a lot of the shipping of things from home were during COVID too. And that's when shipping was expanded to Saturdays and Sundays, days that we weren't necessarily at the library. So in some ways, it just worked out to ship it to my house and bring it to the library.
But ma'am, the shipping to your home continued in 2021, 2022,
Right.
2023,
Right.
2024, long post-COVID, right?
Right.
Okay.
And there was never a problem with that. in that, all the city received all of those invoices with the shipping address, and nobody said there was anything wrong with doing that.
On October 2, 2023,
Until-
they did,
Until 2023, when I got an email from Maggie.
and that continued to do so
8
additional
times,
Okay,
yes.
Okay, so ma'am, when you talked in the testimony day one of your direct examination, you stated, and this is what my notes from your direct examination show, is that you specifically said that you were asked the question, you ship items to your house so that you can preview the items, and your answer was correct. And then you said, it is so that everything I'm putting in the library, I'm aware of what it is, and that I think it's a good fit for our library. Mr. Anderson then asked you if that was required of your position, and you stated, I think it's not written in my position necessarily, but I am in charge of all the acquisitions as I see it as my job to make sure that I'm making good choices for our particular library. Do you recall that testimony, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, and so with reference to previewing these items to ensure that you are making good choices for your particular library, of these 280 items, were any of them returned based on your determination that they were not a good choice for the library?
No, and again, I'll say that when I said the library, I mean our library patrons, and who amongst our patrons are going to be interested in certain subjects, certain books, certain films.
So, help me understand this, ma'am. I'm previewing items at home to make certain that they're a good fit for particular patrons. I review the first 50 in 2019. Yep, good fit, yep, good fit, yep, good fit, yep, good fit, all the way down 50. Then I get to 2020, I continue that, yep, good fit, yep, good fit, yep, good fit. After 280 times, you don't identify one time where it's not a good fit? Is that your testimony?
Well, you know, this is several years ago, so I don't, you know, I do recall something that was not shipped to my home that wasn't a good fit because it was for children and it had a lot of little pieces. Books are, you know, there are some very unique books. So, like, there were tools and little pockets, and there was a concern that everything would be lost right away or swallowed by a toddler. So that's like one example, but
that was
I don't
at-
think
that
that's
was
on
at
the list.
library. That was at the library, that wasn't at your home.
Correct, right,
So of all of this 280 items, right,
uh-huh.
every single one of them was determined to be a good fit and not returned, yet you continue to preview these items.
I think so. I think that that's probably true. And again, it's not just that I was expecting to find something that was just, you know, this is a terrible thing that I don't want to add to the library. People are going to freak out. It was more like, this is an interesting item. I'm going to find, you know, I ordered it based on reading reviews, which I'm doing constantly. And from there, I can, when I actually physically have it, I can look into it deeper, and that's what I do. And I mean, everything that I had shipped to my house, this is a drop in the bucket of what I purchased for the library.
But ma'am, we're talking about almost $5,000 of the public's taxpayer money.
Yep.
That's not a drop in the bucket.
No, what I mean is that, of course not. That's a substantial amount of money that I did not keep, that made its way back to the library in the 18 items that were in my home. When I returned to the library, the items, the rest of the, 30 some items or whatever were in the library, ready to be cataloged whenever we pulled the trigger to catalog them. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying by a drop in the bucket. I'm ordering hundreds of books every month.
You're
So,
not suggesting $5,000 is a drop in the bucket.
I am not suggesting that. No, I guess I'm saying that it's a very small portion of what we purchase for the library. And it's a very small portion of what we've purchased for the library since 2019.
So let's talk about the location of these books. So of the 67 books that were not cataloged, you indicated that you identified 5 to 10 that were cataloged, correct?
Right.
Of this to be determined, right?
To be determined?
Well, we don't have that list in front of us right now, correct?
I don't know. It might be in this packet.
So we're talking about if 5 to 10 were in fact cataloged, we're talking about 57 to 62 books, correct? You do that math?
Say that one more time.
If of the 67 books, if 5 to 10 were cataloged, we're talking about 57 to 62 books.
Sure.
correct? Okay, so of that 57 to 62 books, when you were asked by the investigator back in March about these books, you told her that these books could be found on the cataloger's shelf at the library, right?
If it's in this, I assume you're quoting from the audio testimony, so
Correct.
yes, that's what I said.
You also, I'm referring to your interview with the investigator.
Right,
And you also told her that they could be, so the cataloger has a shelf, there's a cataloger area, and there's a shelf.
they're shelves, yes.
Shelves, plural, sorry, where the items to be cataloged sit, correct?
Some of them sit there,
And
not
you-
all of them.
And you told the investigator that that these items could be found on those shelves, correct?
Yes, I did.
You also told the investigator that the items could be found in your office, correct?
Yes,
You also told her that the items could be found in the storage room, correct?
yes,
And as far as items being found in the, or on the cataloger's shelves, none of the items were found on the cataloger's shelves, correct?
Objection beyond the witness's knowledge.
Sustained, I wanna hear
All
this.
rephrase, thank you. The investigator testified, you were present for her testimony, correct?
yes,
The investigator testified that she inspected the cataloger's shelves and searched there, and none of these items were on the cataloger's shelves. That was her testimony under oath, correct?
I don't know.
Okay, we can look
I-
back at the transcript.
When I
to
looked
verify
at can I add something?
that. Sure.
When I looked at the investigative report, I can't remember exactly what Callie said when she was here, right? But when I looked at the investigator report, she had a photograph of the cataloger's cart where there were several books that were meant to be cataloged, none of which were the ones that were on that list. And a photograph of the computer screen that she catalogs on, and then a photograph in storage of cataloged DVDs that we have in storage. So, so I'm not sure that, yeah, the quote that you just gave from her testimony included the word shelves, I don't know.
Okay, okay. She also testified that she looked in your office, correct?
Yes?
And she testified that she did not find the items in your office, correct?
I guess that is what she testified, yes.
She also testified that she looked in the storage room, correct?
Yes,
And she testified that she did not find the items in the storage room, correct?
yes. Can I follow up on that?
You've answered the question, okay, your counsel can follow up.
Okay,
So, her testimony under oath to this counsel was that she looked in the areas where you told her the books would be, correct?
yes,
And her testimony to this counsel was that the books were not present there, correct?
Yes,
Now, these books and items were in your special library basket by your entryway, correct?
some of them, yes.
And some of them were throughout your house, correct?
So, yeah, there was a few in different places in my house, yes. But easy for me to collect when I finally was able to go back to the library.
And you collected them after you were returned to work, correct?
Right,
You collected them from your residence, correct?
the 18 that I had at my house, yes,
And you took them to the library, correct?
yes.
And you put them in the storage room at the library, correct?
No, I gave them to the cataloger. The ones that were at my house, that weren't cataloged, yeah, I gave them to the
You
cataloger.
gave the 18 items to the cataloger,
Correct,
and you found items in the storage room, correct?
yes,
And the items you found in the storage room have been purchased and sent to your home, correct?
they had been, and then delivered to the library months and months ago,
By you,
right?
correct?
Yeah, yeah, they came to my house, I was the one who brought them to the library.
And where did you put them in the library?
In my office and in the storage area.
And these were the super hot books that were popular?
No.
That you, let me finish. Okay.
Sure, sorry.
These were the super hot books that were popular, that you wanted patrons to have access to quickly?
Some of them were, no, not the ones that were not cataloged. The ones that I had shipped to my house that were cataloged were super hot or some special reason why, yep. And some of them I just wanted to review.
How long did they sit in the storage room, ma'am?
Probably a couple years, some of them.
Dating back to 2019, right?
Some of them,
And
yes.
during that time of 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, they weren't available to the patrons, correct?
Correct.
They weren't available to people at the library looking for those books,
No,
correct?
they were not.
You found these items in the storage room,
Yes, I did.
and you don't have a witness to that?
Only that the cataloger was there when I do have a witness. Meredith, the cataloger, was there when I was pulling them and saying, get these cataloged right away because we need to do this to show that they exist.
Was Meredith in the storage room with you when you found them?
I don't think so.
So you didn't have a witness with you in the storage room when you happened upon these books, correct?
I didn't happen upon them, but right, I went to the library after I was able to go to the library, and I went to the spots that I had told Callie she could find the materials, and there they were, and I gave them to Meredith.
Where in the storage room were they?
The storage room is a very large space, and they were kind of down 2 aisles and to the right. It's hard to explain.
By the library materials?
No.
By the DVDs?
Some of them were DVDs and some of them were books, so they were all in the same spot.
So items that were purchased as far back 2019, items that you were previewing because you knew a particular patron may be interested in it and you wanted to preview it not for the library as a whole, but for an individual patron, right?
No, I wouldn't say an individual patron. I'm just talking about patrons that might have certain interests.
So I guess I understood your testimony before, ma'am, that you weren't talking about the library as a whole, you were talking about specific patrons. So help me understand your testimony now.
That I'm looking for items that patrons will want to check out. It's not usually a single patron, although somebody might pop to my mind as somebody that has a particular interest. It's a small town,
Sure,
small
absolutely.
library.
Example, I'm from a small town too,
Mhm.
small community library. there's a gardening group in my hometown. Maybe you're thinking about, oh, I know there's a gardening group, a master gardener group in Lawrence. Maybe that group would be interested in this gardening book. I'm going to preview this book for them to see if they're interested in it. Is that what you're talking about? Things like that, by way of example?
Sure.
Okay, okay. And you're not talking about one specific patron, Jane Doe, you're talking about patrons in general, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
think so.
But you've made the determination by not returning this book that patrons in general or small groups of patrons will be interested in this book, correct? Hence, it's not returned, right?
So, yes, and these items are just a portion of what I'm looking at and having cataloged for the library. They're a small portion out of thousands. So, yes, sometimes some of those items didn't make their way into the catalog right away, even after a few years. It's a very big job to catalog, or to purchase and provide materials for everyone. So this is a small portion of what is ultimately our collection at the library.
It's $5,000 worth, right?
Yes.
You know, argumentative, asked it.
Sustained, actually.
I'm going to ask, Mr. Mayor, that you direct the individuals in the audience not to laugh, not to murmur, and not to react to my questions. I feel like that's not an appropriate
Granted.
conduct in this forum.
Yeah, at the beginning of this hearing, I did not spell out specific rules of conduct from the members of the audience, but I think to Ms. Hanson's point, please refrain from any further interruptions from members of the audience. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. You may continue.
So my understanding of your testimony, ma'am, is you're previewing these items to see if patrons would be interested, but yet they're sitting in the storage room for months, if not years, not available to those patrons who you think will be interested by virtue of the fact they weren't returned, right?
I will say yes, but again, there are many, many items that I am also looking at carefully that do go into the collection right away. So some things did not, and most things did.
But these 5,000 didn't, right? This $5,000 value didn't, correct?
Correct.
You also testified, ma'am, that another reason you had items shipped to your home was for you to look at how other library systems catalog them. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay. So when you order a book, and you don't have a physical copy of the book in your hand, but when you order a book, you know the title, correct? You know the author, right?
Right.
You know a summary of the book, correct?
Yes.
You know the ISBN number, correct?
Yes.
You know all of that information,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And given all of that information, you know as you order a book,
Mhm.
you don't need the book physically in your hand to research how other libraries catalog that book, correct?
That's probably true. Yep.
And in fact, in your interview, you testified or you reported to the investigator that you never personally participated in cataloging, correct?
Yeah, no, that's not exactly correct. I mean, I have participated in cataloging, yes. It's just not the focus of my job at the library.
So ma'am, I'm looking at page 48 of 61 on Exhibit F is in Frank.
Oh,
You were asked near the top, I'm assuming you've done the process of cataloging.
am I looking for page 47?
No, page 48 of 61. Tab F is in Frank.
Mm-hmm, yep, I'm in the Fs.
Page 48 of 61, they're in the bottom corner in the page numbers.
Well, I see 47 and then it jumps to 49.
Okay, well, I'll show you my copy now. May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Sounds like we have a copy error over there. Okay, you mind if I look over your shoulder?
No,
Okay, so page 48 of 61, I
Mhm.
see the question, and I'm near the top. I'm assuming you've done the process of cataloging before. Do you see that, ma'am?
right,
Answer, no, not personally. Do you see that?
yes, I do.
And then Callie, I'm gonna mispronounce her last name, so I'll just call her Callie Nelson, then said, you've never done it before? And your answer was no, right?
Right,
And then she said, so you don't know what's even entailed in it? And you said, I know a lot about it from being around it, but that is not something that has ever been my job. So I haven't taken it through that process alone. Do you recall that testimony, ma'am?
yes,
Okay, so as far as obtaining, and I apologize that we're missing a photocopy from that transcript. If that happens again and you're missing a page, just let us know, okay, and we'll figure that out.
yep,
So as far as your testimony, ma'am, that one of the other reasons you had items shipped to your home was to look at how other libraries catalog them, you could have done that without having a physical copy of the book in your hand, right?
yes,
And that's not something that you've done before, correct? The
I
catalog?
haven't cataloged something from beginning to end, correct.
Okay.
Can I say something else?
You've answered the question.
Okay.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the audible charges if we can. The last audible charge was on December 27, 2024, correct?
I don't know.
So if you turn to Exhibit 10 in the notebook,
Yeah,
page 13. Let me know when you're there.
there isn't a page 13 under Exhibit 10.
We're not exactly back 1,000 over here, are we? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, may I approach the witness again? Thank you.
Yes, you may.
So I'm showing you, ma'am, Exhibit 10, page 13 of 15, the audible charges. And my question was, the last date of the audible charge was December 27, 2024, correct?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. And with reference to the audible charges, you testified that you noticed the audible charges and you needed to follow up because you claimed you didn't make that charge, correct?
yes,
You believe that that charge was in error, correct?
correct.
And, again, there were audible charges on December 27, 2024, right? And then, on October 27, 2024. And then it says November 27, 2014. I believe the testimony was that's supposed to be November 27, 2024, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And so 3 months of audible charges of cost of $15.98 per month, correct?
correct.
Okay, and you noticed that that was what you believe to be a fraudulent charge, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you didn't, though, do anything about about those fraudulent charges in November of 2024, right?
Well, I looked at what was causing the charges, or tried to figure it out, and wasn't able to figure it out. I was in the middle of trying to figure it out for months.
Okay, so you assign this charge to a city code,
Yeah.
code 5900, right?
Right, right.
So that it was paid for by the city,
Correct.
right? Okay, and, you did that for the October charges, right?
Correct.
You did that for the November charges, correct?
Correct.
You did that for the December charges, correct?
Correct.
You didn't, report these charges as fraudulent until on or about February 25 or 26, 2025, correct?
Right.
And you reported those charges as fraudulent for the first time on February 26, 2025, correct? And that date also coincides with the date that the library board had a conversation with you about concerns associated with use of public funds and charges, correct?
No,
On or about February 26, 2025, that's when the library board brought concerns to your attention, correct?
I don't think the library board brought concerns.
Library board chair.
Yeah,
The
which came
library-
from the city manager.
So the
Right.
library board chair, excuse me if I misspoke, the library board chair had a conversation with you on or about February 26, 2025, correct?
Right.
And on or about February 26, 2025, the library board chair shared concerns with you about charges to the city account, correct?
Right.
Including these audible charges, correct?
Right.
And it was only after that conversation did you report that this was a fraudulent charge, correct?
Correct.
So with reference to the Prime movie video rentals, you testified, ma'am, relative to the Muppet Christmas, correct?
Yes.
Did you call that testimony? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that item was rented through Prime Video, which is a streaming service, correct?
Yes.
So through that streaming service, that item was streamed on or about December 23, 2022, correct?
Probably, yes.
And the library owns that as a physical DVD, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so despite the fact that the library owns the physical DVD
Mhm.
of A Muppet Christmas or The Muppet Christmas, you streamed that item and purchased that item through Prime Video on or about December 23, 2022, right?
Yes.
And the other dates that some of these movies were rented, the library is closed on Sundays, right?
Yes.
But on September 4, 2022, the movie Wizards was rented through Prime Video on a Sunday, correct?
If you're looking at the dates, I
Sure,
believe
it's
that would
page-
be,
It's page 10 of 15. And I'll represent to you. if you
10
look
of
at-
15 in
And
what
tab-
section?
Tab 10, page 10 of 15. And I'll represent to you now on the calendar that September 4, 2022 is a Sunday.
Mhm.
So on Sunday, September 4, 2022, Wizards was rented on Prime Video, right?
Yes,
And the library is closed that day, correct?
right.
October 2, 2022 is a Sunday, Ivory Towers was rented, correct?
Yes,
March 19, 2023, I'll represent to you, is also a Sunday. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was rented, correct?
yes,
And the library is closed on all of those dates, correct?
yes,
On June 19, 2023, Unhook the Stars was rented, correct?
Yes.
And that's a holiday, correct?
What,
June
June,
19, 2023, that's a
oh,
holiday,
MLK,
correct?
yeah, yes,
And then November 10, 2023, Reality Bites was rented, correct?
yes,
And that's also a holiday, correct?
yes,
And the library is closed on those days, correct?
correct.
So let's talk about the AirPods. You testified regarding the Apple AirPods, correct?
Mhm.
And those are in excess of $150, correct?
I believe so.
I think my recollection is they were about $189, if I'm recalling correctly. I'm speaking from memory, so I could be off.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay, they're expensive, right?
They were second generation, I bought them a little cheaper.
So we look at these Apple AirPods, $109.99, I was wrong, $109.99. And it does say second generation. You purchased those on March 14, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you were interviewed by the investigator, you told the investigator that these were available for public use. Do you recall that?
I do recall that.
Okay, and in fact, if we look at your interview transcript, ma'am, which is again in tab F, page 23. You testified at the bottom that these were for, you were asked, so were these for your use or for the, and you said for the library's use?
Mhm.
And then you go on to say, I mean, for me to show people how to use them. Do you see that?
I'm looking.
Bottom of page 23.
Oh, sure.
Okay, okay. So you testified that these were for the library's use, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then when you testified here, on day one, you testified that they were for your use for purposes of conducting Zoom meetings, correct?
Correct.
That's not what you told the investigator,
Okay.
correct?
Well, I think that I was trying to explain that they were for more than one use. And when I say they're for the use of the library, that is part of the job that I do at the library, which is to do meetings via Zoom. You know, I use a computer, I use, headphones, I use ear pods, whatever it is that I need to use to do the library work that I do.
That you didn't tell the investigator that, did you, ma'am?
No, it was a very long interview, and I may have missed some points.
You also testified to this council that you don't allow patrons to put the AirPods in their ears because they've been in your ears, and obviously that would be unsanitary, right?
Right.
Okay, so my understanding, ma'am, is you teach members of the public who are patrons how to connect AirPods, but you don't allow them to use them. Is that right?
Right. They might want to purchase some themselves down the road. A lot of people are learning how to use electronic media, so that's one place that they can learn how to do it is at the library. And you don't have to physically put them in your ears to understand how they work.
You also testified, ma'am, on direct examination about some of the items that were purchased, being purchased for purposes of arts and crafts at the library. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And I think one of the items you testified about was hair dye that was purchased, correct?
Yes.
And you said that that was purchased for use as a craft with an artist, right?
Right.
What was that artist?
That, I don't recall. This was a few years ago. I don't remember her name. I think
When
she
was
was
it,
out
do you
of
know?
Ortonville. Not off the top of my head, no.
What was the craft?
It was like a, kind of a tie-dye photographic, craft. Tie-dye mostly.
So using hair dye, not
Mhm.
tie dye?
Right. It's not like RIT dye, but it was a similar formula. RIT dye is tie-dye, so.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Mhm.
Okay. So there would be no reason to preview that at your home,
No.
right?
No,
There'd be no reason to have that delivered to your home versus shipped to the library, right?
right, other than just, I just did it to have it at the house, to bring it to the library, just like I did, batteries for the phones. It was either, selecting or not selecting the correct address and having it shipped to my house. So sometimes things came to my house that weren't necessarily meant to go to my house, that would be then brought over to the library.
And when you order things on Amazon, you select the delivery address, right?
I think, that is true, but I'm wondering now if there's a primary address and then you have to select a different address if you want it to go to a different address. I mean, Amazon has changed the way it does things, and I don't know if anybody in this room has ever had problems with, selecting or unselecting Amazon, shipping or anything else, but it's not always a perfect system on their website.
And I think when you talked about selecting exempt versus non-exempt, you testified that you understood how important it was to be vigilant, right?
Yeah, and I didn't realize ever that that the tax exempt that was supposed to be just applied to the library card was being auto-applied to my card. I didn't know that.
And you applied the tax exemption status and didn't pay the 6.75% sales tax on items in 2022, 2023.
No, I didn't
24,
apply.
25.
I'm sorry, talking
You
over
did not pay the 6.75, if that number is correct, sales tax on those items because tax exempt was selected, right?
Tax exempt was applied, not selected. I did not select tax exempt.
That you knew to be vigilant about that, right?
I did not know to be vigilant about that. I knew that, I didn't know that it was being applied. Some things are taxed and some things are not. And I didn't realize that some things were not being taxed on my personal card that should have been.
So ma'am, in your interview with the investigator, I'm looking at page 46. At the top,
46 is missing.
Mayor, may I approach and just give her my copy of the transcript since it's full?
You may.
I apologize, I didn't double check the photocopying, so that's my mistake. Okay, you have 46 there, ma'am?
I will in a moment.
Thank you.
Okay.
So at the top of page 46, ma'am, you were asked by the investigator, so because you had your personal Amazon along with the library Amazon, meaning those two different items were commingled in one screen, correct?
Well, I had a personal Amazon that I added that had my credit card on, and then I added a library credit card once the city manager said that I could do that.
The city manager said you could do what now?
Get a library credit card for the library.
Did the city manager tell you you could put the city credit card in your Amazon account with where your personal credit card was also located?
I don't know that we got into the details. It was me asking, I need to be able to make some purchases with a credit card, including on Amazon. Can I get a credit card for the library? Because there hadn't been one yet. And he said yes.
She said yes. When was that?
Probably 2018 or somewhere around there. Maybe 2017 when I became director.
Okay.
I'm not
So-
sure.
So there was no discussion of you commingling the library or city credit card with your personal credit card on one Amazon screen, correct?
Right,
Okay.
yeah, that wasn't a discussion.
Okay, and so. And so when the investigator was asking you about this on page 46,
Mhm.
she asked you, because you had your personal Amazon along with the library as an Amazon, when you would make those personal purchases, would you also get tax exempt? You see that question, ma'am?
Yep, right at the top.
And you said no, part of that was separate from that. You see that?
Yes, I do.
And then she asked you, how would you be able to separate the two? You see that?
I do.
And you said it has a box that you, again, another box that you check to say whether the purchase is tax exempt, falls under that or not. You see
Mhm.
that, ma'am?
I do.
So here you tell the investigator that you have to check a box to indicate that this purchase is in fact tax exempt, correct? That's what you told her?
That's what I told her, yes.
Okay. And when she went on to say, so if you did have some personal purchases that received the tax exemption, it's just because you forgot to check the box, was the question, correct?
That is the question, yes.
And you answered that would be correct, but I was pretty vigilant about that.
Yep.
You see that?
Yeah, I do see that.
Okay. So despite that vigilance, ma'am, we see in Exhibit 10, on pages 14 and 15, $2,232.83 of personal purchases dating from March 13, 2022 through January 8 of 2025, where you did not pay sales tax, correct?
Can you tell me which page again? I'm
Sure,
sorry.
I'm on pages 14 and 15 in Exhibit 10, and I'm happy to show that to you.
Okay. Page 14 and 16?
14 and
14 and 15. Yeah, I don't have page 14, but
15.
I see
You
page
may-
15, but yeah. Sure.
And then 15 is on the other side.
Yeah, and I've got 15 here, just not 14.
So again, the question was, ma'am, despite that vigilance, we see these instances dating back to March 13, 2022 through January 8, 2025, where in excess of $2,200 of personal purchases did not include sales tax, correct?
Correct.
One of the items, ma'am, that was items, ma'am, that involve the city's credit card. I'm looking at page 11 of 15.
Okay.
In effect, I'm going to give you a copy of Exhibit 10, just in case we run into that issue again. One of the items that was purchased with the city credit card was on April 4, 2022, to a restaurant called, is it Me Mexico? Is that right, ma'am? 2024, excuse me, 2024.
Sure. I don't see it, but yeah,
April
I'm
4,
sure.
2024, it's at the very bottom, ma'am. Page 11.
Oh, I see it. I'm sorry. Yep, I see it.
Okay. And that's a restaurant that's located here in Morris, correct?
Yes.
And that was a charge at 9:15 PM, correct?
Yes.
And you used the city credit card, correct?
Yes.
You weren't at a conference that
No.
day?
I was hosting an author visit
Who
after.
was the author?
I would have to look. We have a lot of author visits, but since it was an evening, we went out for dinner afterwards, which is not unusual.
You testified, ma'am, regarding it was on or about February 27, 2025, when the city manager contacted you to request the Amazon passwords. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And your testimony, ma'am, was that you did not indicate to the city manager that you needed to have authorization from your attorney to share those passwords, correct?
Can you read?
Your testimony on direct, ma'am, was that you did not inform the city manager that you needed to have authorization from your attorney to share those passwords, correct?
Right.
And your testimony also on direct was that you did not indicate the city needed to present you with a statement from an attorney to get those passwords, correct?
I don't think so.
Your testimony was you made no reference to attorneys, correct?
I believe so.
Meaning you believe that was your testimony?
I believe that was my testimony.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding your answer. And I
Sure.
think you also testified, ma'am, on direct examination that when the city manager came to your office, you had the passwords written out and ready for her, and you handed them over immediately, correct?
Yes.
With reference to the utilization of city funds, you understand, ma'am, that public funds, the funds that the city has, are funds generated by taxpayer dollars, correct?
Yes.
And you understand that those public funds need to be utilized for a public purpose, correct?
Yes.
And those public funds cannot be utilized for a personal purpose, correct?
Correct.
And you understand that utilizing public funds for a personal purpose would be a violation of that standard, correct?
Correct.
And you understand that purchasing items for one's personal use, utilizing public funds would be a violation of that standard, correct?
Correct.
And you understand that, you've always understood that, right?
Yes.
There's been no doubt in your mind about those standards, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you also understand that a tax exempt status is limited to the organization that is in fact tax exempt, correct?
Yes.
And you've always understood that, correct?
Yes.
You've always understood that it's not appropriate to utilize a tax exempt status if you are not in fact tax exempt, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Those standards have never been in doubt in your mind, correct?
Correct.
Nothing further.
Mr. Anderson, would you care to redirect?
Yes. So when you met with Nelson. What did you know about the investigation that was ongoing?
Not much, very little.
And you tried to be truthful with her?
Yes,
How big, you know, there were thousands of pages of documents?
Objection leading,
Overruled. Actually, I would like to hear that.
there was a lot of pages, yes.
You know, and describe the process that Ms. Gilbert Nelson went through the thousands of pages.
Say that again? Oh, describe the process? She had the pages, they weren't placed in front of me. And, you know, she had some questions and she would flip to pages and, ask me questions, but I wasn't privy to the content, you know, other than what she was sharing with me.
Did she go through each item that was not found in the library with you?
No,
Did she provide you a copy of those lists prior to the issuance of her investigation?
no,
Was your counsel permitted to ask you any clarifying questions?
at that meeting?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't, yeah, no.
So, at some point, you did get all of the information that Ms. Gilbert Nelson had amassed during the course of the investigation.
Yes,
And during the pendency of these proceedings, did you cross-reference the missing items with those catalogs?
yes,
Did you provide me with a document indicating which items you found?
yes,
Would reviewing that document refresh your recollection as to the titles that you found in the library?
yes.
May I approach you,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor?
yes, you may.
So how many items, prior to going back to the library, did you discover that were in the catalog?
That were in the catalog, 7.
Okay, and what were the titles of those?
The Lost Leonardo, Master Gardener, Anatomy of a Fall, The Tale, The Great Storm, Minnesota Victims, Blizzard, Broken Flowers, and The Portable Dorothy Parker.
And then do you recall being asked questions about what materials were, you found at your home after the interview?
Yes,
And did you prepare a list for me during the course of this matter?
yes.
May I approach?
Yes, you may.
Take a moment to review that.
do you have a list for me, Counselor?
I do. I don't have a separate list.
Okay. You want to make a copy?
Well, I think we'll make copies, but you can have that.
Okay, thank you.
So what were the 18 items that you found at your home?
In my home, Bottle Rocket, Sweetie, Cave of Forgotten Dreams, Women Art Revolution, Walker Evans, Parasite 1, Parasite 2, The Monkey's Paw, Los Angeles Plays Itself, Was She Pretty, Classic Horror Tales, Curse of the Chosen 1, Curse of the Chosen 2, Autumn Leaves, Texas Sun, Texas Moon, Ram Dass, and Plastic Beach.
Counselor, I think what this is referring to a different document than
Yep.
this document. So I'm asking if I can have a copy of the document that the witness has.
Yep, I'm sure we can get those.
Yeah, can you get copies?
Would you like
You
to?
want that back?
Do we need to stop?
You can take a break to make copies if you would like.
Why don't we just take like 5 minutes, you can go make a copy of that, and then it might be a good opportunity if anybody has to use the restroom or something, let's do that.
Sure.
Well, we'll reconvene in about 5 minutes or so.
I would like a copy too, and I'll make a whole bunch, one for each of the counselors.
Justin, are you gonna offer that as an exhibit, or,
Do you have a problem with this? Yeah.
okay.